Deshaun Watson is doing something an NFL player never really has done, because the NFL is it's the shield. It's a coach driven, franchise driven, front office driven league. The NBA is a player driven league. So what Watson's basically taken the James Harden playbook, the Kevin Durant playbook. I don't want to be here. I want to leave, and I'm going to make sure that that's happening. It started off when he wanted to pick the coach and the general manager, which is, fair. At the same time, maybe that's not what he does well. Maybe he's better at playing quarterback than picking front office. I don't know. Anyway, he's pissed. He just tweeted out that his anger level is at 10. And so I guess the question is he justified? Is he a diva? And do you want a quarterback who complains publicly like this? I mean, I guess in the NBA, this is nothing really unusual about what he's doing. But in the NFL, this is like new. So is there anything wrong with this? Or is this just the next evolution of free agency?
You mentioned a key word in your question, justified. And that's what really stands. Is it justified? I think that's what we have to answer. And there was I think Adam Schefter just tweeted this out when DeAndre Hopkins was traded. His anger level was at a 2, supposedly. And the fact that it was only at a 2, and that's according to sources close to Deshaun Watson, who then passed that message on to Schefter, Rappaport. You traded away a top 3 wide receiver in football and got pretty much nothing in return. David Johnson. How, as a star quarterback, could you not be more angry than that? And there's just a lot of turmoil in the Houston Texans franchise, I think, just from comments that have been made in the past. There's questions regarding the ownership. There were some questions regarding responses to social justice things going on. So there's a lot going on there where it does seem like maybe this particular case is justified, because Deshaun Watson has always struck me as a high character guy. He doesn't seem like a guy that's all about me. If you look at when he talks during his Texans press conferences, he had the entire Texans fan base convinced to the bone that he was going to be a Texan for life,
Yeah.
And then all this stuff comes out. So there's some question marks there. Maybe he was putting on a front. But the key word, justify, I do think it's justified. And I don't think this is going to be a growing trend in the NFL, because you nailed it. This is not the NBA where players literally drive the NBA. This is a league that goes back a very long time. And I don't know what kind of ripple effects this will cause, but I do think it's every bit justified. And it's fine for Deshaun Watson to feel the way he does. He's the best quarterback that franchise has ever had. A top 3 player already with Andre Johnson and JJ Watt. He means so much to that organization. And then to kind of have your owner, whoever it was, say you're going to be involved in the decision-making process because we want to keep you happy, and then turn around and have none of that stay true, that's an issue. So I do think it's justified to an extent. And I would welcome Deshaun Watson with open arms if he somehow ends up in San Francisco.
Maverick, what do you think?
Here. It's hard to follow that up. I agree with a lot of what was said. I have no problem with what Deshaun Watson is really doing, as long as he's. I mean, I think a lot of people were blindsided by the DeAndre Hopkins trade, and if he was truly at a 2 compared to what his anger is now, that's pretty big, because we saw what DeAndre Hopkins can do in an offense, and I think Deshaun Watson is one of those guys that, he likes his money, but he also wants to win. And there's really no direction with the Texans. I know they just hired a new GM, so they have a new direction. But if he doesn't agree with that, I have no problem with wanting to go with another area. If you disagree with the way he's doing it, that's up to you. But you got to do something, I think, if you're in disagreement. You can't just sit there and let things happen.
Okay, fair. Let me try to disagree with you guys here. Let me see if I can do it. All right. He definitely should be talking behind closed doors to everyone in the Houston Texans organization, trying to figure out what they're doing and try to help them make the right decision. But to publicly say you want to help pick the coach, that's a little much. And then to also say you want to pick the GM, that's a little much. I mean, what other quarterback has ever wanted to do that? I mean, even Aaron Rodgers didn't get to pick a quarterback in Green Bay. He got LaFleur and was like, I don't even know this guy, and had to work it out. Like, he had to fall in line. It's a military-esque sport, and this guy's like ruining the chain of command. So, okay, like you wanted to pick the coach and you wanted to pick the GM and you didn't get to do that and you're mad. Like, do you even know Nick Caserio? Have you met him? How do you know he's not good? A lot of organizations have been trying to get that guy for years. He's been groomed by Belichick for a long time. He might be the right guy.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you mad about, man? Like, what is you should have been mad about DeAndre. You should have been on a 10 about Hopkins because that was your guy and you went 4-12 without him. But Bill O'Brien's gone, dude. He's incompetent. He's gone. You actually have a very well-respected executive in the building. Why don't you give him a shot? So to me, I feel like, dude, like he's 25 and he's got probably $40 million in the bank. I think he's feeling himself a little bit right now. And I think if he could just go for like a week-long vacation somewhere, which I think he's probably doing, just think it over. It may not be that bad. Give it a chance, Deshaun. You may come to the 49ers and realize that Jed York ain't it either. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know. Yeah. The grass ain't always greener, bro.
The one thing to counter,
sure.
I don't think it was ever stated that he wanted to pick the general manager or the head coach. He was just told that he was going to be involved in the conversations. And I guess he was caught by surprise when Caserio was hired because that was never ran by him. Not that he expects it to be ran by him, but I understand where he's coming from. But like, if my superior tells me that you're going to be involved in the decision-making in the process, not in the outcome, just in the process, and that doesn't end up happening, you would start to question your worth to the franchise. Like, how are you going to tell me to my face that I have a role in this discussion and that my input's valued, and then turn around and just completely go back on your word and not involve me? So I understand where he's coming from, and I think it's justified.
Sure. All I'm saying is there's other quarterbacks who've had grievances too. Jimmy could have a grievance with the Niners right now about a lot of things. Andrew Luck could have had a grievance with the Colts about a lot of things. You keep this in-house. If you have an issue with them, you talk to them privately. And if you think it's irreparable, ask for a trade. Going on Twitter and being like, my anger was at 2, but now it's at 10. Dude, you sound 17, man. Come on. You're a $40 million franchise quarterback. You handle this behind closed doors. If you can't fix it, ask for a trade, one or the other. Saying your anger's at a 10, it sounds like an idle parent, a parent who's a bad dad, a parent who comes in and doesn't have any control of his kid. And you know what? If you disobey me 13 more times, I swear I'm going to do something about it. That's what it's like. You ain't going to do nothing, Deshaun. You ain't doing nothing. Do something. Yeah. Ask for the trade. Don't tell me you're mad. Ask for the trade. Or don't. I'm sorry. I just feel like Deshaun Watson is, maybe I would have done the same thing at 25. But I'm not 25. I'm 33 now. And I'm just saying, Deshaun, I feel like you are overstepping this a little bit.
There's just a lot to question, too, because when I think of made publicly, I think of at a press conference making these comments. Supposedly, word got around that he was supposed to be involved in decision-making. He never came out and said, I was expecting this publicly from what I understand. And then his tweet was also, I was on 2, then I took it to 10. So he never actually incorporated the word angry. But of course, that's all the speculation because of what came out earlier with Schefter saying he was a level 2 angry when Hopkins.
Do you understand how much we would crush Jimmy G if he tweeted like this? If he was subtweeting the Niners, we would crush him. Crush him.
Crush him. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But I think that there's
makes me crack up. It's like, okay.
With the history of the Texans organization and there's a lot. It's just a lot weighing him down.
I don't want to argue with you anymore because you're right and I'm wrong. I just thank you for entertaining me. Do you have anything you want to say, Maverick?
You were talking about psychological experiments last week when we were on the show, and I feel like you have a perfect example to do that with the age demographic of Nick and I. And you were talking about 25-year-olds, what they would do. Just test us in the next couple of weeks, see what happens. Well,
he's your age group, right? You guys are in the same generation. All right, let's do. Hey, I'll say I was wrong. Okay, good for you, Deshaun Watson. Get that. Be happy. Do what you need. Go play for the Brooklyn Nets. That's where everyone's going these days.